Hey, it's James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and today I'm going to show you how to play Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in the simplest way possible. I've had a lot of students come to me trying to learn this song, and there's a bunch of jazzy chords in it. So I've simplified it to just some really basic stuff. Let's just take a quick look at what we'll be learning today.
You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glowed. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you'll go down in history.
So, just like C, G, D, A, like basic stuff. And a couple seventh chords that are actually really easy to play, like A7 is just 2 fingers, and D7, that's a really easy switch. If you do find that you need some help with the chord switching or the rhythm or any of that, I have a free ebook. I'll put a link to that in the corner. It's completely free. You can grab your copy whenever it's convenient. And if you enjoy learning guitar with me, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video so that way we can keep doing this whole thing. Anyways, we're going to jump in with our chord shapes. The simplest part of the song is, I guess we'd call it the chorus. That's the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like the main part of the song. Here it is. You can see it's just G chords and D chords. And if you play the G chord like this, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the thickest string, index on the 2nd fret of the next string, then we skip way over to the 2 thinnest strings, placing our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B and our pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. We play it that way. We can pivot off of our ring finger into the D chord, and that's a really easy switch. The hardest part of this section, since we are just playing 2 chords, is keeping track of how long to play each chord for. And basically, if we look at it line by line, we'll do G 3 times, then D once. Then we switch that around. D 3 times and G once. That's the pattern we're looking out for. Then we repeat that entire thing again, and that is our chorus. It's a very simple part. If you're still working on chord switching, this is a great opportunity to just play downstrokes only, going Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. 4 downstrokes per chord symbol. Had a very shiny nose. We switch to the D chord on the word nose. And if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. That's a huge tip, is to figure out where the words line up with the chords. And that's what I do in all the graphics in my videos, right? Because if you can figure that out, it's a lot easier to switch at the right time and play each chord for the right amount of times. Anyways, let's just stick with this simple chord progression for now and apply our strumming pattern to it. Strumming pattern goes, and you probably recognize that as the most common strumming pattern ever. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. But there's a bit of a twist. We are playing it with a swing feel. So instead of playing it like straight, with that kind of feeling where our arm just moves down and up completely evenly, our downstrokes feel a little bit longer, kind of like a country thing or a blues thing. Down, up, down, up, da, 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 has a swing feel to it. And usually we just kind of feel it, but if you're having trouble with it, remember that the downstrokes feel a bit longer. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. They kind of drag a little bit. As far as learning the strumming pattern, I've gone over this in tons of places. I'll put a link in the corner and down below for a page on my site that covers this pattern exclusively. It's in my ebook, in my course, Learn Guitar Once and For All. But let's just take a quick look at it. We break it up into two halves. The first half is down, down, up, and then we count 3, 4. So downstroke on 1, a down, up on 2, and then we count 3, 4 out loud. Down, down, up, 3, 4. Down, down, up, 3, 4. And then the second half, we count 1, 2, and then we play miss, up, down, up. 1, 2. Miss, up, down, up. 1, 2. Miss, up, down, up. And then we put that all together. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and I find this really helpful to say the pattern out loud as you do that. Finally, we can add that swing feeling. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up, down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. You know, you do that a whole bunch of times on muted strings, then we apply it to our chord progression, starting on the G chord. If you subscribe to my Patreon page, you'll know that I have full playthroughs where we play through entire songs from start to finish, and we usually do that at tempo. So this song would be at 122 beats per minute, but for practice sake, during this lesson, let's crank it way down to like 92. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. So I want you to practice that part till you feel really solid at it. Then we can pretty easily move on into the other two sections of this song. The next part I want to cover, we would call the bridge, the then one foggy Christmas Eve, that bit. We have a few more chord shapes. Let's just go through the chord order. We go from C, which is, in my opinion, the toughest of all the basic chord shapes. Like I said before, that free ebook will help you out with that. I also have a course, Learn Guitar Once and For All, that we can talk more about later. C chord, and we go down into G, and then into a D7 chord. And that's going to be probably the trickiest chord in this whole tune. So I would practice that switch from G into D7. Notice that my index and middle are already making a part of that D7 shape. I just got to move them. I focus on my index, getting to the first fret of the B string. And then I can finish off my D7 shape by adding my ring to the second fret of the thinnest string. And just work that a whole bunch, just going G to D. You can even do it silently. Silent switching is very helpful. And then back to G. And now for this next part, you'll see it says D5. And all we're doing there is we're going to press an entire D chord, but we're just going to aim for the middle strings of the guitar and start building up. This makes a D5 chord technically, the 4 middle strings. And we're building up. Rudolph with your nose so bright. And by the word nose, we start playing the entire chord. And that's just one of those little tiny details that makes a huge difference, and it's really easy to do. Rudolph with your nose so bright. You know, we just do our strumming pattern small. You know, I'm just doing the same one, but I'm just focusing on the middle strings. Rudolph with your nose so bright. And then we go into an A7 chord. And for this one, I have my middle finger on the second fret of the D string and my ring finger on the second fret of B. And that feels very similar to D7. My middle and ring are just one string set over for the A7. And would you believe the next chord is D7. So I just drag those two fingers up and I add my index and I get that D7 chord. You know, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And a good thing to practice when we have like a lot of chords in a row to remember the order is to just do one strum. Just go like, then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph with your nose so bright, won't won't you guide my sleigh tonight? This song's really good for that because every time we switch chords, there's a word that happens exactly with that chord. Sometimes there's like a bit of overlay and gray area, but in this one it's like, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Like it's all really straight up. So this is a good one to work on, lining up the singing with the playing. Anyways, once you've done that, we can play this one too. Play this section just for practice sake. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then one foggy Christmas Eve. Strumming pattern 1 time per shape. Nut came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And then after that, we would just play our verse again, but just half of it, for the then how the reindeer loved him, just G 3 times, then D, and then D 3 times, then G. That's pretty straightforward. The other part that we haven't covered yet is the intro. And for this section, we're playing what's called rubato, where we kind of just feel it and just let it flow. We're not playing with the metronome. We're just going, Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen. So I'm letting the words dictate what to do. Dasher. Dasher is a C chord. And Dancer, basically every time you name a reindeer, you got to play a different chord, right? And Prancer and Vixen, and then we pause for a while. Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. So every reindeer gets their own chord. And you just play it in your own time, following the words. As far as the chord shapes to play, we start off on C. Dasher and then for Dancer, I'm switching to C or to G over B. So for that one, if you've ever learned Landslide, it's the second chord in that song too. We're going to put our middle finger on the second fret of the A string and our pinky on the third fret of the B string. And we just strum that. And then an A minor. And that's a really good 3-chord sequence to learn if you ever want to play like, or like Dust in the Wind, anything like that. And then we end on a G chord. And then we do that again. Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. And for that, the best thing to do is just to, pause the video and just take a look and just play along with that. And then after that, we have, but do you recall? So the rhythm kicks in. The most famous reindeer of all. So we're playing E minor, and I like to play it with my middle and ring finger. That way when I switch into A7, it's a really easy switch. I just move them both over one string, and then I move my ring finger one more string. And then I switch to A minor, just pivoting off my middle finger. Famous reindeer of, and then a D7 chord pivoting off my index. So from A minor into D7, I could leave my index down. And then into that G chord to start the song. So here is the order of all the parts. And when you learn a song, I recommend mastering each part, just like we taught it in this lesson. There's a reason why I did it that way. That's going to help you memorize the song. And from this point, all you got to do is print off the lyrics. If you want something to practice along to, playing the entire song, that's available on my Patreon page. Don't forget to grab your copy of my free ebook. If you want something even more elaborate, something that's going to help you go from absolute beginner to confident strummer, I have a course, Learn Guitar Once and For All. And around the holidays, around Christmas, I may have some specials for that stuff. So, you might be able to grab it and some other courses and really fast track your guitar journey. I'll put links to all that stuff down below. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.